Well, everybody, we are going to have an amazing 20 minutes or half an hour with the mystical, wonderful, inspirational Marcus Collins. So, as we've said in some of the things we've looked at before, we're taking a real opportunity for International Men's Month. And we've come and had the opportunity to speak to a number of inspirational men. And Marcus has agreed to give us some of our time. So thank you so much, Marcus.
Thanks for having me. It's an honour.
It's our honour, trust me. So I'm going to kick off with some questions. So first of all, can you just tell us a bit about Marcus Collins, a bit of your background?
Okay, so I am 32. I am from Crosby in Liverpool. I know I don't look 32, but I am. It's because I'm little, I think, and the melanin helps keep me look young. Yeah, I'm 32. I'm from Liverpool. I am a professional singer, performer, entertainer. And I trained in hairdressing about 15 years ago with the lovely Louise Nixon. About 2011, I entered a reality TV show called X Factor and came runner-up to the biggest girl band in the world, Little Mix. And since then, I've been able to tour the world, see like amazing places, perform at some of the most beautiful theatres, and perform in the West End. And I got to do Kinky Boots, I got to do loads of different shows, and I've had such a spicy life and career. It's been amazing. I really do get behind wallpaper, and I have no idea how, but yeah, people just, I don't know, I just get everywhere, and I love my life, just have a great life.
Thank you for that. That'll do. Should we just stop it there? Okay. So obviously, starting your life was a hairdresser. So where did that passion come from? What made you want to become a hairdresser? Apart from working with me, obviously, but where did that passion come from being a hairdresser?
When I was younger, my mum didn't earn that much money, and we struggled growing up, and we were staying with family. To be honest, we lived in one room in a family home, and as you know, I got a bit older, we got a council flat that was just for us, and to get extra money, my mum would bring friends over, and they would spend the day, start really early. They'd have all the hair laid out, they'd have the beeswax on. I'm talking like 1993, 1994. This was when people used to use beeswax for hair extensions instead of glue and all that. We used to use wax, and they braid in and they do all the little bits and bobs. And the atmosphere of having new energy coming into the house, and the smell of the hair products and the smell of the beeswax melting, and just the fact that you could walk in as, you know, as Louise, but you could leave as Diana Ross. You could leave with head down your back and looking gorgeous, and I'd see the transformation. So I was always fascinated by hairdressing. It seemed like magic to me. And then as I started to get a bit older, I'd experiment with hair and would mess around with bleach when I wasn't allowed to, wasn't supposed to, and hair extensions. And I basically taught myself how to do different bits and bobs. I was always braiding in on my own head, and yeah, hairdressing always just seemed something that allowed me to be creative, allowed me to meet new people, and allowed me to make other people feel great about themselves. And that was something that I knew I wanted to take forward in my life, and I've tried to apply that to every different career aspect that I've ever faced. To be honest, every challenge I've always tried to make people feel better, be creative, and have a laugh. That's kind of my ethos.
I think it's really hard when you move away from that industry of hairdressing. I don't think people quite realise that, you know, the madness that it is. But I always shared that the fact that it isn't even sometimes I'm good at cutting hair. It's just I've had a conversation with someone's had a really bad day, and just by changing that colour or doing that cut and blow, and you get, sounds dramatic when you say you get to change lives. You don't get to change lives, but you get to change someone's day anyway.
Well, that's pretty much the same thing. I was laughing this morning. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I'm going to just throw it in there anyway because it's you.
Yeah.
But do you remember there was a special lady in the salon we worked in together, and she was Scottish? And this is just one example of all.
This is the way you're going here, but go on.
just one example of just like the types of character you would need when you're working in the salon. And she'd call up and you'd be like, good morning, you know, thank you for calling us. Can we book you in? Do you need anything? How can I help? And she'd always ring last minute for an appointment. And you'd be like, the only thing that we've got for you today is 8 o'clock. And she used to say, there's only one 8 o'clock in my day, darling. Just point blank refused to book ahead. I just was never getting up before, you know, wasn't coming in the shop before midday, full stop.
No.
Just like that, they're the ones who you remember how they have their tea and the coffee, because they still leave a print in your mind, and they're the ones you want to have a laugh with, you know what I mean? They brighten your day as well.
Yeah. And I think it sets you up for life in so many ways, because, you know, if you can do that, stand on your feet for 12 hours a day and deal with those characters. Yeah. You can get through most things, I think.
Honestly, I've been so lucky in my life of how diverse my friendship groups are and how diverse the career opportunities have been. And I've worked in a salon in London, just off Oxford Street. It was amazing. It was really, really challenging. Like, a cut and blow and long hair was about 150 quid with me. And I just found it insane. Like, it's so pricey as well, but that's just normal down there. And to mix with people who are CEOs of companies and who are, you know, booking their appointments on Treatwell. It's not like the Scottish lady that, you know, who comes in every Saturday and wants an appointment last minute and squeeze it in because she's a scream. It's completely, completely different. So to be able to go from that, plus I've worked in, you know, parts of Liverpool where I've been dealing with all different types of people who've had like mental health problems, underprivileged backgrounds, people who they work on the street, you know, like different types of people. So to be able to go from that to also be doing session styling and be working in London, you've got to have all the tools in your box to be able to speak to, you know, a sex worker the same you would speak to a magistrate, and find that balance. And I think that's they're the seeds that are sown in you when you're a hairdresser. You get to be a chameleon and you know, versatile.
Brilliant. So this follows the next question on perfectly. Talk about versatile. So dramatic career, you know, we go from being a hairdresser to waking up one morning and going, I tell you what, I'll audition for X Factor. So where did that come from?
Well, I watched the show every year and I saw Scousers on it doing well all the time, and I wanted to take me shot at it, to be honest. And whilst I was in school till 16, so that was about 2004, and I used to watch the show religiously, come home every weekend, and just sit in front of the telly. I'd watch it. I'd watched Pop Idol, Pop Stars The Rivals, Thingy Academy, Fame Academy, you name it. I'd watched every reality TV show for singing, and I was like, this is something I genuinely think I'm going to be good at. It takes bags of character. I don't shut up, so that's going to work. It takes front. I've got more front than Blackpool. I just need to stand there and like do the work. Can I do the work? Am I all right in music? Yeah, like I asked my teachers in school and they were like, I think you'd be really good. I think you should have a go. So as soon as I was old enough, I went for it. And I tried to make myself stand out as much as I could. And I bleached my hair and I went in with silver hair and tried to like look like what I thought a pop star looked like. And I got through the first 2 rounds, because not many people know this, but there's a number of auditions that you go through before you get on stage to meet the judges. So I think there's 3 or 4 rounds before you go onto the main stage to meet the judges. And the first time I auditioned, I couldn't believe I'd even been considered to get through. And I got through. I got my yellow ticket and I was so happy. So I think they called me back again. Full days of just sitting in a football stadium, an arena in the middle of winter, freezing. It's usually in March, these auditions. Awful. So we did that, got through the second round, got through the third round, didn't get the call to come back. So I was downhearted, but I wasn't beaten by it. So the next year, I was like, I'm going to do this again. I'm definitely going to do this again, and I know what I need to change, and I'm going to, I altered things up, and I wasn't so loud, and I didn't look like so much of a standout, you know, a noticeable person. I was a bit more inconspicuous. I was like, okay, I'm just going to try and blend in, see how this goes. Get through the first round. Yeah, second round, I'm through. Third round, I'm through. Didn't get through again. So I thought, I am doing something really, really, really wrong here, but I don't know what it is. So I took some time out. I figured out what would make me different. What could I do that was nothing like all the other people who looked like me, who sounded like me, or where I was from. So I decided to put together a mashup of 2 different songs. You have to have 5 songs ready to go. And I mixed mine up. And it was Don't Let Go by En Vogue. And it was Anita Baker, I'm in Love. And I had a musical director mashed them up for me. I rehearsed until I couldn't rehearse anymore. And I got through. And then I got through again. And then I got through again. And then I got the call to go onto the live shows to audition in front of Louis Walsh, Talisa, Gary Barlow, Kelly Rowland. Insane. So for me, I knew that this time round I did something completely different, and I stopped being a gimmick. I went in a black top with my hair black and natural, and I just did it. Instead of trying to do too much, I was just myself authentically. And that taught me such a life lesson that sometimes just simply being yourself was enough. Allow that to carry you through, and it carried me straight through to the final. I did every episode of that series, and it's changed my life, like, you know, entirely. It was a great thing, but I needed to do that because I learnt my showmanship standing on a salon floor, quite frankly. Standing on a shop floor with other people who are big characters and who shine in their own element.
Did you work with big characters?
You know, you've got to represent yourself. You've got to be the one that people want to come to. Not only have you got to be up there with your ability, you've got to have the banter, you've got to have the professionalism, you've got to be able to hold their attention and explain what you're doing in a way that doesn't confuse people. And also, I think something that I learned from you was about how to counsel people and how to calm people when in frenzy or mania. And a lot of the time, people don't even realize that they are. And this is something that I learned about myself from you, that it's always okay to just stop and take a deep breath and to share time. Quality time is one of the best things you can do. And if you can share quality time with somebody, yes, they may be a hairdresser, yes, they may be a therapist, they may just be a friend who wants a coffee. But if you can get all 3 wrapped up into one, isn't that a bargain?
Isn't it? And then you get another curly blow at the end of it.
And you come out looking gorgeous.
Right. So X Factor happened, but then your career changed, and you gained some lead roles in the West Ends, and you had both national and international tours.
Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like for you, going from X Factor to then going to the West End? And
that was really interesting, because when anybody does a reality TV show, there is always some sort of stigma that if you then go into anything that's considered legit, that you are there because of your notoriety or because of your blue tick or because of your airtime and not because of your ability. So I was so proud of myself when I booked my first West End job, which was Kinky Boots, the musical, which I'd never been to the UK before. And it was set in Northampton, so it was just amazing to bring the show to the UK, because I'd seen it on Broadway and I just fell in love with it straight away, the sentiment of it. So I was met with some hostility, shall we say, by the West End community, who were very, and continue to be very cliquey, and everyone knows each other, and it's dog eat dog. And people will it's like in the movies, people really will like put marbles on the floor. They will butter the earth, they'll butter the ground so you slip down the stairs, kind of thing. So yeah, I was met with a little bit of hostility there, but I managed to prove myself, and every performance I would do, I would chip away at that narrative that spoke that, oh well, he's only there because he was on ITV, he's only there because he did X Factor, and that was really, really fun, and probably my favourite job to date, I'd say. But being able to tour, we went over to Berlin and did some jobs there with it, and you know, I've toured China. That was incredible. Really, really enjoyed that. Complete culture shock. Yeah, that
It was
was
America as well, wasn't there? With the that was a different show, but
that
you
was
did
a
a
different
tour of
show.
America, didn't you?
Yes, so America was again amazing, and the universities we were doing and the theatres we were doing. We played the Kennedy Center, the Lincoln Center. Like there was so many amazing, iconic things. We got to play the Chicago Bulls halftime like show. We got to do it, and I sang lead. Like it was insane. Taylor Lautner from Twilight was there, you know, the actor. There was loads of different people there, like Chance the Rapper. All of these amazing A-listers were there, and I was just singing. It was honestly, sometimes you have to pinch yourself and be like, just some lad from Liverpool. But I think that's the best thing to do. Just keep grafting until you find yourself in these situations, and then you get to go, oh my gosh, look how far I've come. Like I never ever thought that would happen. But America was amazing, and it did teach me a lot. And Trump had just come into his administration
Oh, of course, yes,
when I
yeah.
was there. So you can imagine me being mixed race and gay, very, very tentative about how to behave. And you know, as with everywhere in the world, there's good and bad. And there were some parts that were fantastic, and there were some parts that were a little bit more interesting and a little bit more needed a bit more thinking before you speak. Needed to have a little bit more of a think. Am I safe here? Is this going to be okay? And then there were some places where we just find false teeth in the street, and you know, crazy places. It was bad, but America was great. So I enjoyed it, and it has been an amazing journey. And in the new year, I'm off to Australia to do a job, which I'm so excited about. We've just managed to get our visas through. You know, during COVID-19, it's been dreadful for the entire world, and the entry restrictions are different in Australia. So because they've been locked down for so long, they've managed to make certain allowances for re-entering the country. So hopefully on our next interview, I'll be able to tell you all about Down Under.
I didn't know this, so that's a conversation.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, so I've got to ask you, and we are going to share some images because it is a transformation.
Isn't
when
it?
you did take the role of an angel, am I right in saying in
Yes.
Kinky Boot? Yes, you were an angel.
Sissy Elliott.
Yes. Marcus Collins in drag. I mean, that makeup was just phenomenal. Were you taught or were you self-taught? How did that transformation come across? How did that happen? Because I will quite often watch Facebook Lives and see you contouring with the last breath in your body. So I could see it was you that was doing it. So how were you taught, or?
We we had lessons. Now, I want to say, without being too controversial, that we were encouraged to experiment until we found what suited us, because not every colour is for everyone. Not every contour shape is for everyone. There were times when I could have screamed because I just couldn't get it right. And, you know, it took some time, but as with everything, you know, best way to eat an elephant is in little small bites, tiny bites. And every day I do something, go, oh, that's how you do your eyebrows. Oh, that's how you do your contour. Oh, that's how you make it look like you've got breast. Like, we would work through and share tips with one another. And as with so many jobs that involve men dressed as women, we had so much fun in the getting ready process. So the show would start at 7:30, but we would be in the dressing room at 5 o'clock. You know, sitting there, gassing, talking to each other, winding each other up, the music on, eating food we shouldn't have been eating, you know, having the best time, just sharing fun stories and just getting in full garb and having a laugh. But yeah, we did we did have 1 or 2 lessons. What I would say is there were so many hours spent on YouTube and spent practicing on my day off and in the lead up to it, that by the time the lessons came around, I was teaching the teacher, and so were like 2 of the other guys. So it was just a matter of, this is how you do it. Who knows how to do this? Hands up. Okay, cool. And we just shared that information. And you know, teamwork makes the dream work, and we got there in the end. Some of us. I will take responsibility, because if you can see these images now, I've sent some of the full group, and if you could see how we started, I've just sent the good ones, so just see it out. It was a work in progress, and we did have 13 months to get it together. So anyone who wants to lean in to try and drag, please don't be put off. Do give it a go. It's a lot of fun.
Well, a lot of our media makeup students on level 2 and on level 3, drag is actually a unit, believe it or not.
Amazing.
Yeah. So so we'll do a montage. Promise. There's a montage of Marcus Collins looking so unfair because so beautiful. It's just not fair. Okay. Taking a big slant away from makeup and hair and singing. You are extremely prevalent in the LGBTQ plus and the Black Lives Matter movement. You've done so much for us as a community, as Liverpool. You really do stand strong, and done a number of interviews and things like that. You give your services to Pride. You know, it really is something I know is important to you. Mm-hmm. Why is it important to you?
It's important to me because there were never people who looked like me on stage doing these things. The only person I'd ever seen who was Black or BAME, person of colour, talking about gay issues was Ricky Beadle Blair.
You're okay? Why? What's happened?
You're still there? So
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
my nan's ringing me. It's my nan. Kate, isn't she? So sorry. So
it's all right.
So my first experience of seeing people of colour talking on Pride stages and talking about LGBT plus issues was Ricky Beadle Blair, and there wasn't anybody that I saw myself represented in. And I think that's one of the reasons why when I saw Kinky Boots, I was so drawn to it, because the lead character was a Black gay man, and I couldn't name another musical where the lead character was a Black gay man who his masculinity wasn't compromised. He was a prize boxer. He'd had issues with his father. He almost lived this secret life, and I resonated with that. So for me, I just wanted to make sure that I could do something to give back, and so people who maybe look like me or who have the same beliefs as me could see hope in the fact that there's somebody, you're not on your own. And I think that's one of the most terrifying things about working through your sexuality and working through deciphering who it is that you are and understanding your community. We're not all identical, but we are all the same. And as far as I'm concerned, we're all under one umbrella. We're all the same in that. And, you know, don't judge people. Just love them. Just love them. That's all we can do. And if somebody can't help it, if somebody doesn't choose it, then if you have something negative to say about that, you're the one in the wrong. You just got to love people and be loved in return. That's all you can do, isn't it? That's the life lesson.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Don't
Right.
get me talking about the Black Lives Matter, because we'll be...
No, you know what I was going to say? I've just put it in there, but I thought, God, I've got 5 hours. I've got to work. Okay, so November is identified as men's kind of physical and mental health month, with November and obviously International Men's Day, which is celebrated on the 19th of November. How do you look after your own mental health with all this experience? It makes you question yourself and things like that with everything you've been through. How do you make sure Marcus Collins' mental health's okay?
That would be Louise Nixon. Honestly, spending time with chosen family, and I genuinely consider you chosen family. We had a lovely barbecue this summer. You know, unfortunately, we missed James's birthday this year because of COVID. And we had dinner not so long ago, and we just spent the night talking and laughing and sharing stories and offloading onto each other. More me than you, to be honest. But we do, and to share is to open yourself up to possibility. I think if you carry that on your own, you're never going to have another person's perspective on it. So you've got less opportunity to fix it. So I personally love catching up with friends and being social and being out in the atmosphere and being able to experience things together. I also love watching movies and theatre shows and reading books that are amazing stories that I can just lose myself in and not have to think about my gayness, my blackness, my working class background, my career, the weather. I don't want to think about anything. I want to think about that story and that narrative and fall in love with the characters. And that's something I've always loved to do, just take myself out. Exercise is another great one. Exercise, meditation, yoga, good sleep, drinking water, switching to decaf coffee. Honestly, your life will change. Your life will change. But for me, mental health wise, the best thing you can do is to talk. Talk. Journal. A lot of my friends journaling lately, and they say that works wonderfully. But I'm very, very blessed in the fact that I have such a wealth of chosen family, and you know, yourself being pivotal to that as somebody that I can turn to at any hour of the day or night and ask for advice or even just get a cuddle. It's hard going, you know. Life's going to be tough enough, so we all need to stay strong and hold each other up and pick your friends like you pick your fruit. Choose them wisely.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. And I didn't even give you that one. That's one of your own.
Yeah, can have that.
Interestingly enough, we've interviewed a couple of inspirational gentlemen, and the fact that one's from he's a professional footballer, yourself who's someone from the theatre and was done in that element, then you've got an extremely well experienced business gentleman within and all of you have said reading, yoga, meditation. Yeah. It doesn't matter what that background is. For that self-soothe, as I call it, yeah. Those things are so important, aren't they?
Yeah. That stillness is when you connect to your consciousness. And when you're fully conscious and connected with who you are and what you want and where you're going, all the rest falls away. The ego falls away. The worry and the panic slips away. It all goes. So you can actually focus and say, okay, I'm struggling this month. I might not actually have what I need to do. How can I stop this from happening for the next time? I'm going to do this. And when you allow yourself that openness and that space, that's when the ideas come in. That's when all the people who are up there, who are walking you through your life, guiding you, looking after you, that's when they are allowed to intervene because you've made space for them. That's what I think anyway.
I love that, Marcus.
Yeah, I feel like my dad's with me every day. I feel like my granddad's with me every day because if I need them, I'll physically call on them and ask them to come with me. I'm going on the stage now. I need you here. I've got an interview now. I need you with me. And having that grants you the kind of protection that a bodyguard can't give you. That's the kind of stuff that gives you that sparkle behind your eyes. And you go on stage or you go into an interview and people say, what's going on here? There's something about him. There's something about her. Something about them. What was it? It's spirit. It's people with you. It's your loved ones standing behind you, holding it up, pushing that energy. So give yourself that stillness. If it's 5 minutes in the morning, if it's 5 minutes at night, turn your phone off. Give yourself a break from all of this nonsense and just be yourself. It sounds so like hippy dippy, doesn't it? It sounds crazy, but I promise you, every successful person I know does it, and that's why I tried to do it. And it's paying in dividends. I'm improving every day with it, and you will as well.
Certainly are. Right. So, last and final question. You and me could be on here for hours, couldn't we, Dad? Last and final question. Who inspires Marcus Collins?
Ooh. Okay, first person that jumps into my head, is career-wise who inspires me. I'm going to say Billy Porter. Billy Porter is the original Lola on Broadway and workshopped Kinky Boots. And I consider him to be my mentor. And he has been in so many other things since, American Horror Story and Pose and all of these amazing shows where he's doing so much to give back for the Black community, for anyone of colour, LGBTQIA community. He is focused and knows exactly what he's doing and wants to make a change, and he's not scared to stand alone. And that's something that inspires me every single day, because there's times where I think, oh God, you're a bit old for that now. Oh God, you know, that's probably not the best thing to do. If I want to go out and wear a flat hat and a big cape and I want to wear boots, I'm going to wear it because he inspires me. If he's going to go on the red carpet in a ball gown and a tuxedo top half and a ball gown at the bottom, be yourself. To be your most authentic self is what makes you special, and that is something that he just exudes, and it's palpable for anyone who's around him. And that's something that I just want to take a little bit of that into my life and have a little bit of that. You know, there's a lot of people who inspire me, but career-wise, he's one of them.
Thank you. Unbelievable, inspirational, amazing young man that carries himself with honor and dignity. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving us your time, that you know is really precious. And I've loved catching up. We'll have to do this again. Thank you so much, Marcus Collins.
Thank you. Honestly, it's a joy as always. Let's get some cocktails in soon. Yes. Love you.